Okay, here we are in the garage looking at the Morph 2.5 that's on the table, not riding because of its latch problems, but we're going to get that fixed. Notice the footrests are pretty much at, let's see, they hit just about an inch below the top of the wheel, and their angle, you can see their angle relative to the head tube here. I would say there you can kind of get that. You could measure that with a stop frame and a screen grab. And there's two straps here. There's this one that slides, and I think that we probably want to do something like that. And then over here, we'll probably want some sort of elastic receiver for your foot, so that as the seat tilts, as it tilts back, when you get into lowrider mode, your legs are going to come back, and as you come forward in high rider mode, I think you're going to push into this. Now this one has a bar back here that's padded, and this footrest works pretty well. In high rider mode, of course you have plenty of room. Notice where the pedals are up there as far as clearance of your legs, and also notice the centering mechanism, which I think we're probably going to use Graham's new centering mechanism. Okay, now let's look at how the footrests are supported. Now notice this one is using a crossover just around the top of the wheel, just below the end of the main upright. And we may not have to do a welded crossover, because you might be able to just sort of snap onto that with some sort of a little plastic snaps or something. But mainly you're weight bearing on here, so you could make something that sort of snaps on, or it could snap on a little further up, depending on, actually it could snap on here. Imagine if the snap was on this thing, and it held it here, so you could adjust the footrest height like that. I don't know if that'll get us enough room for a tall person. But what we're talking about is something that is mainly supported in the center, because you're happy with the whole thing tilting, which is okay, and on sort of level ground, both legs will support it. I guess one question would be is if one leg is heavier than the other and it starts to tilt, but I don't know. And what we were talking about is having sort of like a fairing look that comes around here with something sort of flat that gives it a sort of instead of a metal tubey look, it gives it a kind of a fairing look, like what are your feet in? I want to see that, as opposed to, it's all exposed. Rory mentioned that if these were black, like the back part of the bike, it would look better if the front end was black. I think that that's true, and maybe we should try to do that. Right here we see the adjustment for front to back. I think having to get out Allen wrenches and adjust this side, that side, tighten, all that, we need something that's much faster for adjusting. You really want to be able to get somebody on, adjust the feet, and off you go. Now notice the chain lines. You've got to be careful about chain lines on the bottom and on the top relative to the footrest, and you also have the second brake coming through there. So that's something to be considered. So, again, supporting here makes sense, and supporting here is probably where you can consider going. I'll just take a look at the bike. Now, one thing to notice, you see the bike starting to go up, you can see as you turn a little bit, it's not moving up, which indicates sort of a neutral trail issue. And then as you start going up, as the patch is moving away, now the frame is starting to rise, which makes sense. It's going to want to come back. All right, here we are at the seat, and you can see the Morph 2.5 modification. We took off the front hinge that used to be there and went straight down this way to the main tube. There's the pedal system, which can move. Yeah, it moves a little bit there. And you can see under here the slung seat, which is very important for sort of shock absorbing and comfort on a long ride. All right, here we see the lift system on Morph 2, Morph 2.5. We're using 2 easy lift shocks. And they're mounted on these arms. There's been talk about the strength of the frame versus one. Okay, now we're going to look at the latch. Here's the latch mechanism. And the problem is the whole thing all jams up. You can see it's supposed to move this Delrin piece. And you can see how this piece is bent from a lot of force on it. You're supposed to push this back, and somehow it's supposed to come along under there and release that thing and let us come away from the frame here. But that's where we're having a lot of trouble. It really doesn't work well, and we're hoping to fix that maybe on Tuesday. We have a few hours in the shop. This is the centering spring mechanism that we have. It isn't pretty, but it works. It centers more towards center, and then as you go over, it allows you to turn hard. Now, Graham has a different design. The question, which goes down here with sort of a rubber thing, much cleaner looking. The question is, we got to be able to turn 90 degrees, so that's the key. Okay, here we are on the other side of the Morph, and imagine, again, I think the footrests need to go right about here where they've been. You can see them in line with the seat in the upright mode. But imagine if they had this cool carbon fiber look, and maybe as you dropped in here, back here, instead of this being just hard and padded, it was actually something soft and padded, and as you laid in it, it would sort of pull over you, keep your legs from popping out in a bump or something. Although actually, as you unweight them, it will open, so that's not quite right. Here's where this is crossing over, and what I'm proposing maybe is that we cross over higher and support there, and maybe we support this way. We come. We're hanging at this point so that we get our support, or maybe we're coming off of this thing and supporting. I don't know. Here's the tab from the other side, and it looks like there's a little gizmo there for measuring speed, I think. And here's just a look at the Morph 2.5. Very nice looking machine. We just got to get the details working right. Comes in at about 45 pounds. The aluminum front end from Morph 3 is really good and lightweight.